o'clock at night. Yeah, that's good.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Furman Football Weekly with head coach Clay Hendricks. The Paladins are coming off of the first win of the season, a 48-7 win over Stetson on Saturday. This week, final non-conference game of the year on the road at William and Mary, a 6 o'clock kick coming up on Saturday night. We'll fill you in on the broadcast info a little bit later on. One note, Trey Hedden was named the Stat Sports Perform National Freshman of the Week after his 20 of 27, 200-plus yard, 2-touchdown performance this past weekend. Clay is joined by players Joshua Harris and Caleb Williams today. We've got the media folks assembled here. Clay, I'll ask you, as always, to open us up with a statement, and then we'll let Scott Keeler ask the first question this week.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dan. Certainly very happy to get a win Saturday. Really proud of how our team played. I think for us, you hear this term out of me a lot about getting better, and we got better Saturday. Certainly got a long ways to go. Lot of room for improvement. Again, trying to focus on things we've done well, things we can fix, and just trying to stick with who we are, what we're trying to be. Thought we continued to play well on defense. Got to play a ton of guys. I think we played even 4 deep in the defensive line. So a lot of work there. Certainly great to get 3 turnovers. Excited to see that. I thought both quarterbacks, Trey particularly, had really good days. It's really nice to see explosive plays showing up, getting the ball down the field. I think that's going to continue to help us. Going forward, again, we got a chance to play a lot of guys. Like I said, still run the football better. We're making some critical mistakes in the run game that we've got to kind of get cleaned up. And again, I think it's stuff that we can clean up. It's I'd be a little more concerned with guys just getting beat a lot one-on-ones, but there's just some communication things we got to fix. I think similar to some things we still see a little bit with some deep ball and some penalties. I think we're in really good position. I think we've been in pretty good position most of the year. We just got to do a better job of making plays on balls. I think as coaches, we'll have to continue to find ways to put our guys in those positions at practice. That's something you got to kind of develop, as you go. But had a really good day yesterday, practice. This group's been really steady about how they come to work, develop, and then certainly got a big challenge this week as we head up to William and Mary. But with that, any questions you may have?
Coach, considering how he ran and the fact that he was in there with, second and third team linemen, has Gavin Hall earned himself some more carries moving forward? I mean, I know obviously it goes into more than just one game, but.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and we didn't have second, third. We don't really have a third group with that group, But now Gavin is, he's shown the ability to. He's got a little knack, he's got a burst, got some power, vision, all those kinds of things. I think we're always continually evaluating every position. He did it, he's done it a little bit the chances that he's had. And, obviously there's more than just carrying the ball. But I think there's a number of those young guys. And I think these guys could tell you that show you they're going to have the ability to help us maybe this week. But no, he certainly was a bright spot there. When he got his opportunities.
Caleb, I think the secondary is probably improved with each game as much as any group on the team. Can you just talk about, getting a couple of picks or 3 picks, I guess, on Saturday? How much of a confidence boost that is for you guys collectively?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the biggest focus this game was just trying to get our confidence back up, especially after, Ole Miss. Then Charleston Southern have had a few missed opportunities. Even Saturday, we still had a few missed opportunities that I think some of our guys were pretty upset about. Even Billy Lewis, he gets his first interception. We're talking about, hey, dude, we got to go score with that. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that, we went into this game confident, wanting to get more turnovers, wanting to be better at playing the ball in the air. And I think that just the focus and practice was the difference this week.
And Joshua, 7 targets, 7 catches. You had the long touchdown reception in that ball game as well. Tell us a little bit about that catch, and you had a really good day.
Yeah, that's been a big focus for us for a long time, trying to complete those deep balls down the field. We work on them in practice all the time. We get extra reps after practice, just trying to work on that timing and working on the placement of the ball. So, I mean, Coach Roper called play. It was one-on-one. I just knew that I had to go out there and execute. So all the techniques that I've learned, I've been taught, that just came into play, and I just went out there and did what I needed to do.
Caleb, this is 3 games in with an inexperienced defense, a particularly inexperienced a team with a lot of people back. I would think this is the time of the year where newcomers start becoming veterans. Is that how this defense is coming together?
I would definitely say that. I think that Coach Hendricks started the meeting on Sunday saying, who's played their first game, who played their second game, who played their third game. Like at this point, it's like, well, we've all played college football now, and so there's no excuses of, well, this is just my first year playing. Well, we got to grow up fast. We kind of got to mature, and especially this week, it'll be a great challenge for us to see how fast we can mature.
Coach, how important is it having 2 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks on the team that have went in this year and played against teams and going into these games where injuries can happen? How important is it to have those quarterbacks with game time?
Well, I hadn't really had that situation very often as a head coach, and I really don't remember a lot of times, even as an assistant. I'm sure it's happened in there through some years where you had just a couple of guys you felt really good about, even though they're still relatively young and inexperienced. But they both, they've actually in all 3 games have done some good things. So I think they'll continue to get better, and I think the best part, maybe one of the most encouraging things, just the way they practiced last week, even after, the disappointment of the week before, and then Trey started, but Carson, had started the week before, but just how they responded. They're made of the right stuff. Coach Roper does a great job with those guys, and to think we can go through 9 games here and not have to play one of them, whether you can just pick and choose who you want in there. I don't know that'll happen. That doesn't happen very often in a season. But no, it's a good situation, largely because of the way they're responding. And so again, I think that's a little bit of how our team is right now. If we'll stay the course, continue to get better. We talked about 2 weeks from now we're playing we've already played a conference game, but that's kind of what we've been shooting for, because that's what's most important to us. And so, again, just try to control what we can control.
Clay, many years ago, my first newspaper editor told me that all great ideas are stolen. And in your profession, it doesn't take long for something on film to make its way around. Charleston Southern hits those 2 jump balls on you. So what does Stetson do? They throw the jump ball. Just talk about the process of trying to get better in defending those, because obviously until you stop it, you're going to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it starts with, a little bit of your philosophy defensively, and Dwayne calls it aggressively, which was going to, we're going to pressure people. And, it was interesting, we'd like to sack the quarterback a little more, but, it was hard to get there. He got rid of the ball so quick, and we got to hit him a good bit. But it's going to put you in man coverage and put you in one-on-one situations. And, to me, the encouraging thing is we're in really good position. I just think when people have just run by us, I think even a couple of times at Ole Miss, we were in pretty good position. Their guy just made a play on the ball. And I will say this, too. Guys have thrown some pretty good balls, Can they continually put those balls, I think the first one they threw down there, it's a little bit of a back shoulder behind him, and, man, it's hard to defend that. But, again, starts being in position, and we're in a good position now. It's, doing some things we can help them do to get our eyes, find the football, and then make a play on it. And, and it's just one of those things. It's a learned art. It's not it's something that's got to be coached and developed. And, yeah, some guys have a little more natural ball skills than others, but, Josh can even tell you, there's something about it from the offensive perspective too. The difference in the offense, it's coming. You're going to see it a lot sooner. But it's something we're working on. We're still seeing it. And again, I feel good about the guys we have back there, and we'll get better at it. We still need to keep getting after the quarterback and having an effect, because for the most part, we managed that pretty good. I think a couple of the other deep balls are in good position. We just didn't play the ball, played the man, got a couple of PIs, and you're making it easy on an official, because that's a little bit of the cop-out call. They're going to call it no matter what if you don't look back. The last one I thought Heisen was actually in pretty good position. No, it's a work in progress.
Caleb, to piggyback off of that a little bit about the interference calls, it's easy for guys like me this has never had to line up across from a wide receiver in my life. I never had to worry about that. To just say, well, just turn around. How can you take me through the thought process that you have that split second of not losing your guy, but also you do have to turn around and play the ball, but that's easier said than done, I suppose.
I think it's a game of positioning. We talk yellow light, green light, red light. Green light means go. We go make a play on the ball. Yellow light, we kind of wrap our hand around, try to make a play on the ball. And red light means just get the guy down. And so I think it's just more of a field thing. And like as we're saying, this experience that guys are getting in game, it's just going to come with that.
Coach, what do you see in William and Mary? It's been 24 years since we played them, but I know they're a program we're always aware of and keep up with.
Well, I was thinking about that. I guess the last one was up there. Yeah. No, I think it's the week of a hurricane. I think the hurricane or something come up through there that week. You know what? Part of me, I enjoy. We don't get to do this very often. I enjoy playing these people that are a little bit like us as an institution. They play with true student athletes. I have great respect for their institution, how they go about it. We recruit a lot of the same kids, same kind of kids. They don't know Coach London, always known who he is. He's done a great job everywhere he's ever been. Kevin Lewis was on that staff. But yeah, me going back, I know I've had several games with them. We played them in a playoff game here one year. But man, they've been really good. I mean, you just watch them; it's pretty obvious when you cut the tape on. They're talented. They're well coached. Got a good scheme. I think we're built similarly. I think they want to be a physical football team and run the ball, play great defense. They're a veteran, much more probably veteran team than we are right now. When you look at just the roster, veteran quarterback who's a true dual threat guy. Really, several good running backs. Got kind of one of the main guy, big up front, and then I mean, they're just solid program in every way. The last couple of years have been one of the better teams in the country. I think last year started really well, had some injuries that kind of hurt them down the stretch. Playing a really good league, and I think they're an old Southern Conference team. So, I think I do take pride in our league being able to go play in these interconference games. I mean, look at what East Tennessee did this weekend. Every way should have won the game. And so it's our chance this week. Get a chance to go to their place. I think they return the game. I think maybe they come here next year for the opener. But no, it was good to see them back on the schedule. But it'll take this is one of those really good teams, that you see in FCS that can line up and play with about anybody. So, and that's who we think we are too. So we'll have to have a great week of prep to be ready to play.
Coach, I think the difference maybe in William and Mary last year was they had more of their experience on defense, whereas this year it seems like it's on the offensive side of the ball. I think they changed their offensive coordinator. They've had some success both throwing and running the ball. What have you seen them doing?
Well, they did. I think I know their guy. I think their OC left. Maybe took a job in the NFL somewhere and promoted the offensive line coach, who's an old Appalachian guy, and that's who they look like. All the zone stuff they do, and you can. I don't know. I can tell the way you watch them play. You can see that you can see him and them in the way they play. Give you a lot of different sets, a lot of movement. They may run 6 or 7 reverses. but physical, run the football, got a really dual threat guy, and they're going to get him out. He throws it well. They'll get him out. I wouldn't say he's really a runner, but they will run him, and he certainly can make a lot of plays with his feet. And then I think Coach London's a defensive guy. You can kind of see that in them, the way they're built too. And yeah, you're probably right. Probably a little older on offense than they are on defense, but they've got talent. It's easy to see they can run. Got good length and size, and not overly complex. I mean, they are who they are. Just real sound in everything that they do.
Coach, 57 yards in the first half last week, and then you end up with 512. What changed?
Well, I don't know. I don't play a whole lot of attention to that as it goes. I just think we're kind of natural progression, getting better, and we didn't lose 4 possessions by turning the ball over. Like I said, I wish that game we'd have punted 2 more times. We probably would have won the game 2 weeks ago. So, and it's just natural progression. I think we got so many young guys that are playing for the first time, playing together. I think Trey was a different guy Saturday, which he should be. I hope he's a different guy this week. Again, just trying to do the things we can do to improve, and got to get rid of some penalties. Some penalties are hurting us. And again, a lot of times I don't agree with them, but there's also things that should get called. Sometimes it doesn't, so it kind of balances out. But we got to eliminate a few things, and again, just can we? I really think, can we make as much progress this week as we did from the 2 previous weeks? And if we do that, we're on a good trajectory. And when you got young guys, you want it to speed up. You're talking about playing these balls. You don't get to do that at practice, because we don't want them going up for a ball and coming down and somebody getting hurt. You do it in August some, and you try to drill it, but you got to go do it in some live reps. And so we're getting some of those. So I think it's just continuing to improve.
Trey, I think the previous week he had flashes of brilliance. Last week he just had a marvelous game. Carson played very well. When you have 2 young, exceptional quarterbacks, as you go into the game, are you more likely to say, well, what we want to do is something that Carson does a little better, or Trey does a little better, or is it more like you play the hot hand? If Trey starts out a little slow, you give Carson. When you go on game day and you go into the game, what are you thinking along those lines?
Well, I think their skill set's pretty similar. I don't think we're going to change a whole lot or call stuff a lot different based on who's in there. Now, I think probably we're to the point now where you feel like somebody would have to be doing something poorly. Maybe some, even when we're I thought a little bit of a lull in the second quarter the other day, for whatever reason you want to say, but I didn't think it had much to do with quarterback play. We missed a couple of throws, and we'd like to complete, but I think no, it's more, it's the old adage about you pull a guy because he has a bad play, and you don't do that at other positions. Maybe you might pull a guy out, pull a guy out if he gets a dumb penalty, something like that. But no, we're enough into this thing now. You let them go play, and don't worry about making mistakes. Take care of the ball. That was really the biggest difference. I think he was more comfortable. He just took care of the ball. That was just, and again, sometimes the ball gets tipped. You don't have, but when you can control it, sometimes you make a bad throw, but when you can control it. And I think that was the biggest difference.
Josh, just curious from your standpoint, the process of developing timing with a quarterback. I mean, you had 2 years with Carson in the program. Trey got here in time for spring practice. How long does it take you to develop that timing or that natural rapport? And I guess it's not natural if you have to develop it, but what comes between a quarterback and a receiver?
It's hard to give a timeline for it. When Trey came in, they were talking highly of him, so it was just another quarterback that came in. So we're going to get the same reps that I do with Carson over the summer when we do our little 7-on-7s. Like, that's our time to progress and, like, let's, like, become excellent in everything that we do. So me getting work with Carson and me getting work with Trey, it was like day in and day out. So when we get those extra reps after practice, that's going to correlate to what we do in live reps. So, I mean, trying to put a timeline on it is hard. It's just something that we have to just develop while we're doing it.
And just as a follow-up to that, do you have to get accustomed to different quarterbacks throwing the ball differently? Like one guy may have more zip on it or the way it comes out. I mean, is there a difference in the way the ball gets to you sometimes?
I mean, I think both of their arms are incredible. I mean, I really don't see a difference. When I get out my breaks or I'm on the go route, I see the ball up in the air. I mean, they're both right-handed, so that's kind of better. I've had some left-handed quarterbacks throwing to me before, but I mean, there's not any difference. They're both strong. They're both accurate. It's always on the point. It's sometimes either where I get it or nobody gets it, or it's right there at my face mask. So there's really no difference.
Coach, from the 4-minute mark of the first half to the first play of the second half, you had more 50-yard passes than you did all last season, and the same as 2 years ago. Now, before that was Ryan Miller, and he had about one every week, but that season. But is that something that you kind of talked about this offseason? Like you felt like this team could be explosive. Is that just kind of what you were talking about that you've seen in preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think even you look, I don't know what the numbers were even the week before. We had more of those kinds of plays, you know, and we missed a few. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's with having a few more explosive players. You know, I think the ability of the quarterbacks, I think a lot of it goes into it, and I think which is going to help us in lots of phases. You know, it helps us defensively. So I hope it continues to help us in the run game because you know, you put it on tape. People watch a few things. I mean, to think that doesn't affect you a little bit defensively when you see it on tape, somebody will run by you. You know, and so I certainly hope that continues to help us. And I think there's a lot of, you know, Josh's group. He's the old guy. We got a bunch of young guys, and we're leaving some things on the field that we got to do better. You know, and Drew Dudzik will be the first one to tell you there. Just basic route running. You know, and a lot of it's really simple stuff, but we had a chance really the other day for a couple more. You know, if we'd have just done a few little things better. And again, you know, you're not going. That's going to be all year, but I'm kind of excited to see where it's kind of headed. But again, a lot of things we just got to continue to clean up. And again, when you're a little bit younger, you want it to happen today. It's not going to happen today. You know, we'll try to get. We're off today. We'll try to get better at some of it tomorrow, and then try to go back out there Wednesday and do the same thing. But again, I like the trajectory we're on. You wish it would speed up, but it is what it is.
Coach, Trey hasn't run it a whole lot this year, and you made the comment that he's not exactly Tyler Huff, but he's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. So is that something as you go along that you'll incorporate his ability to run it more as you go along? Yeah,
I think absolutely. Actually, there should have been a few more runs the other day. Should have been a few more pulls, you know, and some of the zone read stuff we've done and RPO stuff. So, yeah, he's a big body. You know, he and Carson both. I know Carson had a good run. I think that's only going to help us, you know, and certainly they're not Tyler, but I think, you know, they also can do some things. Maybe Tyler wasn't Tyler's strength. So, but, yeah, I think you're going to probably see a few more of those design runs. And again, a lot of it should kind of happen in the natural progression of the, you know, some of the things we're doing. I thought we hit a bunch of the, you know, the RPOs the other day. Probably hit as many of those as we've hit in a while after a pull, you know. And you know, you go through the old debate. You know, even me as an old line guy, you know, man, I wish we'd handed that one off. But you know, he's doing what he sees, and but you know, I think we'll continue to get better at that. As he gets more comfortable with the mesh. But yeah, there should have been several more carries that just happened.
So for Josh and Caleb, how do you guys feel now, being older versus when you first came into the program?
I would say that it was a bit of a quick turnaround, but even after that game in Montana, you know, we're in the locker room, and the guys in front of me, Cam Brenton, Callie Chiswick, Q Ryan, they're really sitting there talking to me, and they're like, yeah, it sucks right now, but the keys are yours now. Like, this is your team. This is kind of who you're going to be the guy everyone's going to be looking to next year, especially in that back end and on the defensive side. So yeah.
Yeah, it's still crazy to think about that. I'm the old head in the room because I just turned 21, so it's just like, oh man, I don't even feel like the old guy. But I mean, being the old guy, I know my leadership role has to step up, and I got to do certain things at a higher level because I know that guys are looking at me, and I'm not going to be the one that's just always outspoken. I like to lead by example and just show the young guys how it's going to be. So that's one thing that I try to do a better job of this year.
When you go into a season, and it's hard, how can you tell much from the Ole Miss game? I mean, and then you go back the next week, and it's a little disappointing. You thought you would. I remember 3 years ago, Clay, you often said, we've just got to make the layups. We've got to make the plays that are there. We've got to not make the unforced. It seems like to me that in a 3-week period, that's exactly where the team is going. And you have to not get frantic and panicky and just let things develop naturally. And at least as of Saturday, that looks like that's exactly what's happening.
Well, that's a good observation. I mean, I agree with that. We missed a few the other day, but we're making a few more of the routine plays, as we say, make the routine plays. You know, I was telling some offensive guys actually this morning, I said, you know what, I think we got a chance to be pretty good on defense. You know, we're playing pretty good defense. Yeah, there's some things we got to do. But I just think our defense is going to give us a chance every week. You know, and, you know, you're going to get into games with a little favorable matchup, you know, and I think there's certain teams that we probably even match up better defensively, you know, or some weeks it's a little more of a challenge. But I just think our defense is going to give us a chance every week. And, you know, it goes back to, you know, the last 2 weeks. Don't put them in bad spots. You know, and again, it's okay to punt. Let's take advantage of the opportunities we get. And, you know, I think Coach Vaughn brought up the comment, the three turnovers. I think we scored on all three of them.
Coming
I think
up,
we
yep.
scored after all three of them touchdowns. And the punt that we downed on the 2-yard line. Same kind of thing happened. You know, we got them backed up, kept them backed up. And so, you know, we got to play complementary football in all those phases. But, you know, that's kind of how we built this thing, you know, from the start with, you know, invested over there. And that's why we have all those defensive linemen. And, you know, we had a lot more defensive backs. You know, we've been a little beat up over there. But I think we got good depth, still continue to develop those guys. And I think we can rush the passer. I think we can do a lot of things and, you know, let our offense continue to where we are a little younger and inexperienced, you know, but continue to grow. And again, there's experience over there. And that's just kind of how we need to win football games right now. And again, like I said, this week will be a big challenge for us.
Clay, are you sure you want the analytics crowd to hear you say it's okay to punt?
Well, you know, like I said, it is. And that's not the first time they've heard us say that. I know Coach Banger said it's just, you know, and man, Ian Williams, what the day he had, you know, and just how he's not some national player of the week. I don't know, you know, for what he's done kicking wise and punting. And I think the punt thing, you know, he's punted in 3 games now, you know, so I think he's going to continue to get better there. We got a new short snapper and a brand new long snapper, brand new holder. You know, so lots of new moving parts, but again, we're getting better there, and that's what we, you know, maybe not as at the pace everybody else wants, or certainly the pace I would like, but I'm pleased with our progression. It's just, you know, attention to details is the thing that's gotta get better, and that's staff, that's players, and I think our guys are bought into that.
Well, that's it from the media gallery. Any final thoughts from any of you up there?
No, just again, you know, big challenge as we've said this week, but also great opportunity for us as we head on into conference play. And I think our league, you know, when you look around, I hadn't watched a lot of games, you know, other than seeing scores like people. I think it's wide open, you know, and I think the team that kind of keeps getting better throughout the year and does those things we talked about will be the one that comes out on top, and that's our ultimate goal. And this week could be huge for us and take another step forward.
Well, kickoff is 6 p.m. at William & Mary, the final non-conference game of the season. It's going to be available video-wise via Flow Sports. The radio broadcast will kick off with the Pepsi Countdown to kickoff at 4:30 p.m. via our flagship station, The Fan Upstate. So we look forward to having some purple in the stands, hopefully, but having all you folks tuned in one way or another. Our thanks to Clay Hendricks, Caleb Williams, Joshua Harris, and thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Furman Football Weekly. I'm Dan Scott. God bless you. So long, everybody.
Appreciate it.